Hello and welcome back to CEMA's podcast, y'all ready for this, where we talk about all things emergency management and emergency preparedness to help you and your family get ready for any type of natural or man-made disaster right here in Chatham County. This week, we are so excited to have two fabulous guest subject matter experts and kind of co-host here, and we're going to be talking about something called the Sea Level Sensor Project. This is an amazing project. I'm so excited to be able to bring this to you all today. It actually started, and I'll let the experts explain the in-depth piece, but it actually started with CEMA, Georgia Tech, and the City of Savannah, trying to understand a little bit more about flooding that's going on in our community. So with me today, I have the Assistant Director of CEMA, Randall Matthews, and I have Russell Clark, who is with Georgia Tech. So welcome, you guys. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yes, awesome. All right, so Russ, let's go ahead and get started with you and give us a general overview of this project, how it started, and kind of what the main purpose of it is.
Yeah, it's a fun project, quite frankly, that has been a great focus for our work for the last going on 3 years now. And the whole idea is to understand more, have more information about what's going on with flooding in our community at a hyper local level, as close to where people live and as close to the specific communities as we can get. And it was really inspired by or motivated by the hurricanes of the last 5 years, really, but especially our experience with Matthew and Irma, and how the flooding, local flooding, was so dramatically different from those two events, one being more of a rain event, one being more of a wind event, and how the visibility we had from the limited water level gauges at Fort Pulaski, while they've been fantastic as a long-term evaluation of water level monitoring on the Georgia coast for close to 100 years now, that's just one point of reference, and we didn't know what was going on in the Vernon River and in the marshes near Skidaway and near Tybee and farther south, especially as we get to the Ogeechee and what have you, and farther upriver. Just dramatically different realities of what's going on in the ground with flooding. And so the project is really about giving us a better understanding, real data about what's going on during these different storm events, during these different flood events, both for long-term study analysis as well as real time, so we can see what's going on live during the storm.
All right, that's awesome. So we're collecting all of this data. How are you actually collecting this data, and where does that data go?
So it starts with the sensors that are installed on a bridge or a dock or wherever we can get easy access. The whole point is a very low cost installation so that there's not a lot of overhead. And again, we want to deploy tens, dozens of these, 100 eventually along the coast. And so it's about a low cost sensor that is giving us data constantly in real time. From there, it connects through a collection of new Internet of Things technology gateways that we've deployed around Chatham County to give us that real-time connection to the sensors. And so we've got about a dozen of those gateways deployed on different infrastructure, lift stations, and city and county buildings around the county. But and that ultimately links the data, sends the data up to the internet, where it can be collected on servers that we host at Georgia Tech, others that are hosted in the cloud through services like Amazon, so that we have some redundancy. And then ultimately that data is available through a set of APIs, application programmer interfaces, that make it available to the community, but also to you as emergency responders, emergency managers, to people that want to understand what's going on in real time, but also researchers that want to be able to look at it and grab a 6 months scenario, or let's see what happened during the weekend of as Hurricane Matthew passed, or something like that.
Wow. So it seems like it might have a lot of different uses. So I know research is one component. Randall, some of our listeners may be wondering, why in the world is CEMA involved in this? What could emergency management use this data for, and why are we engaged in a project like this?
Yeah, as Russ said previously, our experiences between Hurricane Matthew and Hurricane Irma were pretty different. There's flooding, major flooding in one place, but maybe not another place from one storm to another. So we're really trying to understand how the community is being impacted by these events. So this allows us to get more precise information at the small community level to see how people are being impacted from flood events. We're also looking at critical infrastructure that supports these communities, whether it's a well for water or a police station, a fire station, communications systems. We need to understand how these different systems are being impacted. Also, when we look at communities potentially being isolated, this always used to be a major issue with Tybee Island, for example, when Highway 80 would have floodwaters come up and rise over it, which would isolate Tybee Island for a period of several hours, a couple times a year. So having this information at the smaller level really helps us get a better picture of what's happening so we can have better responses in the future.
Wow, how eloquently put there. I love that it's going to be used for immediate action. We're going to see live and true data that we may not have been able to see before. So that is really exciting. And I love that technology is getting to the point in 2021 that we can do some of these things. It's really exciting. I'm starting to geek out with you guys. I get how we could talk about this forever. I love it. All right, Russ. So Georgia Tech, you guys are known for always finding innovative ways, different opportunities, engaging your students. How are students playing a role in a project like this? And, what kind of things are they able to help with?
Certainly, without the students, this project doesn't exist for many reasons. And it starts with the students I've been teaching and working with for many years in the mobile applications and Internet of Things sensor space that sort of led to the ideas and led to some of the early applications and concepts around how we might do this and how we might deploy this at scale and make that work. So that's many years. While this project itself may only be about 3 years old, the work on the technology to get there many years before that, again with students, of course, and that's today that's a very wide range of different types of different majors, different departments at Georgia Tech. For instance, I work in computer science and networking, but we also have civil engineers working, for instance, on the infrastructure modeling work that Randall mentioned earlier. We have earth and atmospheric science students working on the forecasting models with some of our other colleagues at Georgia Tech who are experts in that space, right? And so what's fun is we're bringing a whole bunch of different expertise to this project, in addition to myself and the team that I work closely with. But the other thing that's been really exciting for us from the student perspective here in Chatham County has been working with the local schools, the local high schools, for instance, at Jenkins High School. One of the teachers there engaged with us very early on with the project, Mr. Tom Mady, and brought his students into the project, and through the last couple of years, they've actually been assembling the sensors that were installed on the bridges here in the county. And so, if you drive over a bridge on Highway 80 or any number of other local bridges around town, or a dock there where you see one of these sensors installed, it most likely was assembled by a high school student here in Savannah. And in several cases they're proud of this work. They signed their names to the the inside of the box because they're excited to be part of this project, as we are excited for them to be with us. So very rewarding part of the project has been the student engagement.
Wow. That's really incredible to be able. Could you imagine being a high school student driving over a bridge with their friends or with their family saying, I contributed to this. I am able to help
Absolutely.
make a more resilient community because of work that I did. Like I didn't have that opportunity in high school. That's amazing.
Yeah, nor did I, but we're excited to provide it. And this summer we're going to be continuing that. Of course, some of this hands-on work was disrupted a bit over the last year as school delivery changed, but this summer we'll be continuing that work. We're going to have interns. We're going to have summer camps here in Chatham County, and of course, when the schools kick off again in the fall, we'll be continuing to work with those students on whatever the next generation of sensors might be. And that's the fun part is this is evolving. This is sort of cutting edge technology. We're figuring out, we're learning a lot as we go. And we certainly expect that we'll still be upgrading and installing sensors for years to come, but that those will be much improved based on the work that the students have done.
Oh, that's great. So we've been working a lot to improve access to flood information throughout the county. We have currently about 50 sensors right now just in Chatham County. So what's the next steps moving forward? How do we expand? Where are we going next?
The community has told us, we've asked the community where the concerns are primarily, and working very much hand in hand to decide where to go next. And we do have some specific infrastructure along, for instance, the Vernon River corridor, where we don't have quite enough monitoring yet. We'll be adding that this summer. But the other big request and big need has been looking west, looking inland, if you will, at some of the more drainage, rain-focused infrastructure, maybe not as prone to tidal flooding, but as we've seen here recently, especially on the Ogeechee and Western Chatham, very prone to flooding due to heavy rainfall. So having better data, better understanding about what's going on in that part of the county is important, and will be part of our focus, is part of our focus this year, as well as looking to the rest of the Georgia coast and partnerships that we're working on with other locations, such as with the City of St. Mary's and Camden County, to look at doing some monitoring there. As we've learned over the last several years, in many cases, those storm surges that come up the Atlantic as those storms approach, the impact is felt to the south of us well before it is felt here. We'd like to get that information real time as well, so we can see what's coming, and so it will benefit us here in Chatham to have that infrastructure more widely deployed.
Seems like there is a lot of exciting stuff that's kind of coming down the pipeline. I'm pretty pumped about it. And I will say, Russ, you said something that I loved, and that is this explanation that tidal flooding and inland flooding are very different. And I feel like a lot of people don't understand the difference between them. They think flooding is flooding. Not quite. And tidal flooding is very different in that it's typically associated with a storm. And inland flooding, you can see like flash flood warnings and things coming down from the sky. Very fascinating stuff. If that interests you, listeners, stay tuned, because you guys, we're getting ready to get into hurricane season edition, and we will be talking about it. Very exciting stuff, at least to me, and I know to this group. Russ, to get ready to wrap up, if our listeners are super pumped like we are about this project, and they want to know more, and or they want to help, what's something that they might be able to do to be able to get engaged?
Well, first you can go to our website at sealevelsensors.org and see more about the project, sign up for a mailing list, check out the dashboard where you can look at the real-time data for around the community. It has a map where you can find some of the sensors. But the other thing is help us to see be our local eyes and ears on the ground to understand what's going on with flooding. Help us to document that. We're going to be working on a campaign this summer to try to get more of that through taking pictures, documenting these kinds of flooding events in your local neighborhood and sharing that so that we can understand and really calibrate what the sensors are seeing to what people are seeing on the ground. And also help us to identify those locations. If you look at the map and you say, hey, why isn't there a sensor on this street that floods all the time, or on this creek that floods all the time? Tell us about it. Let us and if you have a dock and would like to volunteer to host some infrastructure, we'd love to talk to you about that too.
Very cool. So lots of different opportunities for you to get engaged, get involved, and learn a little bit more. I mean, who knows, maybe even your high school student will be helping to develop these in the future. So lots of different opportunities. Thank you guys so much for joining me today to talk about this amazing project and the great work that you're doing within our community. Listeners, please be sure to tune in next week as we start kind of a brand new adventure and what we're calling the hurricane season edition. It was a little sneak peek that we talked about earlier with the differences in flooding. Lots more coming at you with hurricane season, how you can prepare, and things that you need to know. We'll see you next week, and we'll see you on Y'all Ready for This. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.